Okay, so today we get to try out the decal restore and prep chemicals that Nick sent us from Mckees37, and we'll report back how we like the chemicals and share the footage on Facebook and Instagram later, and let you guys be the judge and decide what you think about it. And we'll try to make sure we share a link where you can pick it up at, and definitely share it on the McKees discussion
Okay, so this
page.
one's getting a real thorough cleaning, and I've been joining the party a little bit, trying to help them get it scrubbed up. A lot of the bugs on the front are a little tough to get off. Other than that, it's a typical white smudgy paint, kind of dry, so it needs protection. And then the better half of it is actually the vinyl sticker material.
Scotty's wiping off the prep chemical that we're trying on the decals, and they're still not coated, but you can see the difference between the Z and the A just on how shiny it is after prepping it. So top notch on the chemical for sure. Very noticeable difference between the two letters, even with this footage being all shady and everything. It's very noticeable difference in person and on the camera. We'll do another shot after we're completely done with the second chemical.
Test spot in the black area and see if we can get it a shade darker.
Go ahead, Scotty.
And then after that, we'll be done experimenting, and we'll go ahead and knock it all out. I think that's a good enough little area.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely adds a lot of shine to it even. And it's taking away that hazy
After
look.
wiping down with the prep chemical and polishing that stuff off, quite a bit of black stuff came off on the rag.
The vehicle is covered pretty well in the prep. There's still quite a bit of residue on it, and we're steadily wiping the prep off. And as we're wiping it off, you can see a real-time brightening of the colors and overall cleaning, polishing of the vinyl. So it's a really good chemical for what we're using it for. It's definitely doing what, you know, every bit and maybe even a little more than you would expect of it. It's easy to use. Like anything in this field is elbow grease involved. I'm sure there's ways to get around that even, you know, there's a machine for everything these days. But just for straight up wiping it off, it's not overly difficult. Just like the window restorer by Mckees37, that stuff is awesome. If you've got a heavily spotted, hard water stained glass and you put that stuff on there, it's really not hard to take it right back off. And just the act of taking it off, it actually literally takes all the contamination right off with very little elbow grease, and it's almost shocking how much comes off. So this is another situation like that, maybe not quite to that degree, because that stuff's awesome. But again, it's low elbow grease required, not a lot of pressure, not a lot of hard rubbing, just kind of going through the motions and watching the chemical do the work. And very noticeable brightness comes from just cleaning it off with that chemical and getting all the residue off. This is sort of a before image of this area before it's been wiped on and off versus the area where it is wiped on but not off yet. He's in the process of wiping it off now, and you're gonna see a noticeable difference, very noticeable. So that would be pre and currently getting done. Yeah, so that chemical works awesome. And this is going to be interesting because it actually restores, cleans, and protects, and it protects it from UV and water resistant, and so it's going to do the whole bead and self-cleaning system and everything. and it's very much just for vinyl graphics and stuff. So this is key for this type of a detail, especially when it's this covered. It really does need a good protection to keep these vinyl wraps along for the ride for a little while, you know, because these aren't cheap to get them done, and if you don't protect them right, you're going to end up with a lot of dry rot and cracking and vinyl that needs restoring or replacing. Now the restore, coating, whatever you want to call it, I feel like it's a really good sealer. That's what I'm going to call it, because that's what it's doing, and I love it. It's probably going to take place of the red old school treatment that I've used for many a years, because it's so versatile, and hopefully this one will be too. But the red stuff works on gel coats, chrome, glass, you name it, it works. And the only downside is that it's a little oily, kind of like this one, and so you'll have to deal with residue from time to time. But the upside is when you get rid of that residue, the performance and the lasting effect is insanity. So looks like this chemical has a lot of similarities and could possibly be my replacement for it. This is definitely a really good reaction we're having between the black and the rubbers and the trim and stuff. It's reacting very well on that stuff as well. So I definitely feel like it's a good replacement for the red stuff that's no longer being made by that company anymore, and used to be one of my secret little tricks in my arsenal. So I'm glad to make this discovery today, and can't ever thank Nick enough for turning me on to some of their cool little tricks. And so it spreads a long ways, it leaves a lot of residue, but the rewards after getting the residue off are long lasting, really shiny, good protection. And it acts very much like a sealer that would be good on all surfaces. However, it does tend to streak up a bit on the paint. Okay, so the Zapp's potato tip truck has had the vinyl decals restored, kind of polished and protected now. And the restore was sort of a cleaning thing that brought back the color, and now it's got a really good UV protection, repels water really good, so it should beat up real nice and protect it from dry rotting and cracking or bleaching out in the sun. So got that treated, everything looks real nice, cleaned up real nice, and totally looks like a totally different condition from the time that we got here until we washed it and put all the protection on. So aces on the product like always for the McKees37 family, and I can't wait to share the content with you. Thanks Nick for turning us on to another great product, and we look forward to seeing more in the future. Thanks everybody who's tuned in to see our video today. This is North Florida Mobile with Rob and Scotty, and we'll see you next time. Have a nice day. This is sort of a before image of this area before it's been wiped on and off versus the area where it is wiped on but not off yet. He's in the process of wiping it off now, and you're gonna see a noticeable difference, very noticeable. So that would be pre and currently getting done. Yeah, so that chemical works awesome. And this is going to be interesting because it actually restores, cleans, and protects, and it protects it from UV and water resistant, and so it's going to do the whole bead and self-cleaning system and everything. And it's very much just for vinyl graphics and stuff. So this is key for this type of a detail, especially when it's this covered. It really does need a good protection to keep these vinyl wraps along for the ride for a little while, you know, because these aren't cheap to get them done, and if you don't protect them right, you're going to end up with a lot of dry rot and cracking and vinyl that needs restoring or replacing, even worse.